Oh. Leo, have you read this 4G upgrade story?
No, I have not.
The Xoom just keeps fucking up, people.
Yeah, I'm shocked. You know, they're advertising it every freaking 3 minutes over here.
They're doing it out here too. But here is the upgrade process to get your free 4G upgrade for the Xoom whenever it comes out. You're going to take your nice, pretty Xoom. You're going to box it up. You're going to ship it off to Motorola, and you're going to get it back in 6+ business days.
It's physically locked?
Say that again?
It's physically locked?
No. In order to get your 4G upgrade, it's not I go into the Verizon store or some Best Buy and just, wait 30 minutes while they upgrade it. It's I box my nice I box it up, I ship it off to Motorola, and I get it back. I'm without it for over a week. 6 business days. Plus. So, which means realistically you're without it for half a month. While you're paying your Verizon bill, incidentally enough.
Oh, true, yeah.
Those aren't cheap.
There's a caveat as well. Many people are already attempting to root the Xoom, and there was an article published today as well saying that rooted Zooms will not be eligible for the 4G upgrade. Which
yeah.
I did another post on Twitter and told them to piss off. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Even HP embraces homebrew for WebOS, and they're actually using parts of the hacker community's
let's take a tally poll here for a moment. WebOS, hack me, please. Do whatever you want with me. Windows Phone 7, hack me, please. Do whatever you want with me.
That's right.
Android. If you hack me, we're not going to upgrade it.
Right.
Let's think about that for a minute. How many more...
The exact opposite of what Android was meant to do.
I know that. How many more ways can Motorola fuck this up? Between Motorola and Verizon, I want to take the Xoom out back and shoot it. Me! Pro Linux, pro Android, pro open source. I want to take the Xoom out back and shoot it. It's just...
The problem with Android is that other OEMs other than Google dictate the terms, and that's part of the licensing of the whole open source part of Android.
Here's the thing. I'm all for the open nature, and if they want to commit Harry-Carry and just fuck their customer, they're entitled to do that. But for that to not screw the end user, because you need the flagship device. You need the equivalent of a Nexus 1 for every version of Android. You need the Nexus 1 line of phones. You need the Nexus or the Honey ones or whatever you want to call them. It's like
Nexus Tab.
Honestly, here's what I'm thinking of. Even though I bought a G1, the G1 was really one of those. It showed Android off, but it was never really upgraded. It was kind of an underpowered device. It was like, okay, look at this new thing, but understand, unless you're an uber geek and just want to futz with it, this isn't the one you want to buy. And I'm looking at what's going on with the Xoom, and I'm like, it's another damn G1. Google gave all this thing to a company hoping they would show it off, do good, yada, 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 and they're realizing that they've backed the wrong horse. They've backed the horse who is intent on doing every single thing completely and totally wrong.
Yeah, it may go against your grain, but I think that Android needs to make a move that somehow makes the next versions or future versions of Android, which again will go against your grain, somewhat proprietary, so that they have legal authority to exert their authority for a standard over other OEMs, and so that Android can
I don't think they need to make it proprietary. I prefer Jordan's solution, and Jordan's solution is you should just be able to go to some Google site and say, make my phone stock. It's the end user's choice.
But how do they do that without the OEMs interfering? And that's my point, is that if you want the OEMs to back off, you know that you have to ride a bigger horse. And the only way to ride a bigger horse is if Android can come down with a whole lot of legal weight on these OEMs and make them submit.
Well, and there's definitely going to be a war going forward on that, but it's one of those, if they want to fuck it up, they can fuck it up. And basically, if they make it like that, where you as the end user have to go do it, here's the thing. If the OEMs do like what Motorola's doing, which is basically F you end user, we'll go to Google, and Google will fix it. If, however, they're innovating and they're creating something that Google didn't envision and they're actually making the device better, we won't go to Google. We'll trust them. They basically, if they want to force their better mousetrap on us, it has to actually be a better mousetrap. I think that's the best all around, in that they're not forcing a standard, they're just creating a standard, and if you think you know better, do better. But if the end user disagrees, they're not stuck with your crap. I think that's the best of both worlds there, because at the end of the day, the person who spent the fucking money, is in charge.
I agree with what you want, it's just I don't know how you can legally wrestle that around OEMs. I mean, they currently right now under licensing, because Android does not have the proprietary card in their hand, that the OEMs do it what they want. They layer it with their own proprietary software, like HTC and AT&T put on, and they just basically say, I'm sorry, this is our layer. We have control over updates. If your updates to Android screw with our layer, back off. And we don't, frankly, give a crap because we're the distributors of the phones that they end up buying anyway. So my reverse to that is, well, great. Let's make the consumers want the next version of Android, but that next version of Android has to have something legally that's a bigger horse than what these other OEMs will have, and of course that's going to be the war. Will the OEMs upgrade and relinquish control to Android, because now Android has got proprietary stuff in there enabling them to exert authority?
What's going to wind up happening at some point is Google's just going to have to outdo themselves with a better version of Android, and then they're going to have to go back to making a Mark I line, like a Nexus line, and they're going to sell that, and they're going to have to just be willing to make it stick. Independent of the cell phones. They might even want to think about honestly doing, just going and bypassing the phone companies altogether and saying, we'll subsidize this device and here's the internet service you can buy for it.
I think they need to make their own hardware. I agree with you. I don't think they pushed the Nexus one hard enough. I mean...
Well, no. What it was they were trying to play... What it was, Google did not want to get into the hardware game and it did not want to get into the telecom game. But, and this is a problem for Apple too. Apple's having this problem too. I see HP having this problem. Phone 7's having this problem. All of these guys are having this problem. And the growing consensus of the technical journalists and the community and everybody is, how much longer are these multi-billion-dollar companies going to put up with the idea that their product is not making it to the end user because of telecom and OEM stupidity? How long before they just go, you know what, we have the cash reserves, fuck the middleman, we're just going to go straight to the consumer?
Well, but wait a minute, I'm actually going to have a video on that. It's about where mobile devices stop. And that's where we hit the logistics of the telecoms. Until we're at a world that doesn't have logistics dependent on telecoms, it's one giant industry versus the other.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? The computer side is going to lose because they don't have any infrastructure, no money into the infrastructure unless they buy it. And that means they got to partake on the logistics of the telecoms in order to exert authority.
Well, but think about it. You have all these little, all of the companies I just named have enough cash reserves that they could just go do something like buy Clearwire. Or spend a year laying optical line, or at the next federal bid go, we want that communications channel, and we're going to use the old TV channels for internet, and we're going to make devices that are going to use it. There's a number of things these companies could do where they could spend their billions of cash reserves wisely and just go, you know what, Verizon, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, we're sick of you dicking around. So, fuck you, we're now in direct competition with you, and guess what? We have more money!
It's almost like a play on what MP3s did to the music industry, and really changing it from the monopolistic album control to now, which we all I remember back in the day when we would just want singular songs, and it finally broke the back of the music industry. Of course, they got their cut, but they found a way to break the hold that the music industry had, and I think it's going to be another major war. It's just
I'm not sure that really got
telecoms. You have to deal with municipalities. You have to get natural monopoly permits, or you have to lease lines, and there's a ton of money involved in dealing with that kind of logistics.
Well, but okay, Leo looks like he's getting bored, so I'm going to ask him what he has if he has anything to say on this in a minute. But the reality is, you don't need to be a telecom to service these devices. You just need an internet connection. And there's not that much red tape with internet connections, especially with all this, the internet should be free, Bitcoin stuff. You're honestly telling me if the collected mentality of these 4 multi-billion-dollar companies, Microsoft, Apple, Google, and HP, was we want a nationwide, high-speed, wireless network for internet link access. You're honestly going to tell me that any regulators, anybody would have a problem with that? They'd be, wow, and you're going to just bits are bits and the fees the fee.
I don't think they have a problem. What I'm saying is that currently they're yielding to our CDMA and GSM network until we're all fully voice over IP, whether it's over LTE or WiMAX. I mean, we're just not there yet. Now, once we get to the LTE and WiMAX, Verizon's already in charge of the LTE and logistical network.
But again, that's the debate. Honestly, what will happen if those companies decide to do that is LTE will be a skipped technology because, like you say, AT&T and Verizon already own it. So they'll just go, we're not using the technology. We're going to use a different one that we own, one that isn't fucked up. Anyways, moving on before Leo falls asleep. Do you have anything to contribute, or should we move on to another topic? Sorry, we kind of got involved in that for a moment. This poor Leo in the middle, he's just like, why are they still talking?
This episode is going longer than I'm used to going.
I know. Okay, let's move on. I just came from a...
Google adjusts search engine.
Yeah, I just came from a 2-hour conference about this before we started the show. The idea is Google's tweaking their algorithm to devalue what they consider low-quality content sites. And, of course, the complaint is certain sites that are clearly not low-quality have lost half of their traffic. Like this is where I always went for my news. What do you mean it doesn't show up in Google anymore? It's like, I don't know how this is going to wind up, whether or not. And what's so funny about this is this whole problem is something Google created. For those of you who don't know how search rankings work, let me explain how search ranking works. Search rankings are all about 3 key factors. Do you have the keywords? Are they in the right spots? What's your page's page rank? And your page rank is determined by how many other sites link to you, preferably specifically for the word you're searching for. Which means the obvious way that you get page 1 results is to spam the internet. Go create thousands of articles that point back to you for the words you want to rank for. So the whole reason these quote-unquote low-content, quote-unquote farming sites, and it really is ridiculously gray what Google considers one of these and what they don't, it is the fact that they're, letting content come to them, which incidentally moves them higher in the ranks because they have more words and more new content and more. It's a self-fulfilling cycle. And no matter what Google does here, this business is not going to go away because the whole reason this business exists is because of the way the Google algorithm works. So let the tweaking begin. It's like...
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else to say on that. Okay.
Well, I can say my old Middle East website is actually still ranked number 5. I used to own a Middle East information center. I ran it for 6 years. It averaged about 2.5 million hits a month, and I sold it. But I was actually checking that, with ranking, because I don't know how high quality that site is, but on Middle East information, it's still the 5th rank, so pretty good.
I'm not sure there's much competition for that, though, but that's... Anyways, okay, Leo, are you awake enough to do the 8 things that we like, the 8 good things about the Xoom, and some of these are debatable, too?
Yeah, I'll probably debate some of them myself. I tried out the Xoom at Best Buy, and not as impressive as it looked in the Google demo.
Oh, in the Google demo, it was like I want to actually go. I haven't had a chance to go futz with one yet, but I'm planning to. The first thing is it's fast. Since I haven't played with it, I can't say. Spec-wise, it's fast, because supposedly you can overclock it to 1.4 gigahertz. So it's in actual use, I don't know how fast it is.
In actual use, I think it's not fast enough.
Okay.
Like, I was noticing a certain amount of lag when I was playing Angry Birds in the on-store place.
See, I was wondering about that. I pointed this out when we were first reviewing it, because in that demo, there was, when the hardware acceleration kicked in, there was a little bit of a, lag, and I'm like, okay, how bad is this going to be? Was it like that? Like, it's just, it's not that it's glitching, it's just, it seems sluggish.
Yeah, it seems sluggish. It's not huge, but it definitely is noticeable.
Yeah, and I think that has to do with the hardware acceleration. I'm honestly wondering if there's a way to turn the hardware acceleration off and see if that would fix it. I'm going to have to go futz with that. Well, now this obviously brings up the next thing, though. Since you screwed with it, I'm going to defer to your thing. Multitasks well. I've been hearing mixed...
I didn't get a whole lot of applications running.
Yeah, it's like
a lot of the ones that I did get running just crashed.
Here's what I'm hearing from the internet on the Xoom. If you go out and read the internet, here's what you hear. Multitask great. It's the best thing since sliced bread. The Xoom is just wonderful. And here's the other thing you heard. Slow, not really ready, doesn't really work right, needs some tweaking, kind of has too many forced closes. So one of these says it's great at this, and one of these says it sucks at this. I don't know. Those both can't be right. So maybe some applications aren't good. Yeah. I am going to agree.
I don't know if I'd even say that so much as just they have a hard time transferring over to that platform, because I was noticing a number of the core apps just were failing. Okay.
So yeah, maybe so it sounds like more the wasn't quite ready yet might be more true.
Yeah.
Okay. I am gonna agree with number 3, which is tabbed browsing. Tabbed browsing is always a plus, and based on what I've seen in the demos and everything else, the browsing in the Xoom, and this isn't the Xoom, this is the browsing in Honeycomb, the default browser, is more what you would expect tab browsing. It's not like it is where it's from window to window. It is actual tab browsing, which, thank you.
I didn't actually try that out.
Yeah, it's like,
I have no idea what's wrong with it.
It's one of those thank you, because the slates have needed that, and I hopefully all the others follow suit and quickly rip it off so none of us remember where it came from. It's like I do have to agree with widgets, but this isn't purely a Honeycomb thing. This is an Android thing. It's one of those things. I love the widgets. The widgets are useful. Like, I like the widget style of doing things.
The Xoom tablets that I actually saw in the store, it only came with 3 distinct widgets, though.
Or was that what was loaded, or were there no more? Like, if you went in the menu and looked...
There were... Well, I don't know. I don't imagine it's been out long enough that there's a whole lot of user-created content, but just the ones that were on it, there were just 3.
And when you went in the menu, there were no more widgets to add? Or was it just the... Okay.
I went into the menu. There were only 3 widgets that it was possible to add onto the screen.
Okay, then we should quantify that. Assuming more widgets come, we like widgets. If more widgets don't come, 3 widgets is not enough. I need more widgets. I need more widgets, Captain. Okay, it's like number 5 is an obvious thing. I think this is going to be a fleeting good thing because I don't see any next-gen tablets coming out without this feature. And that is, it has a camera. Oh, big fucking whoop-de-doo. A device coming out in 2011 has a camera. Ooh, that's like, not to say it doesn't need a camera, it's just big whoop-de-doo. I guarantee you, every device that is even worth buying that's going to be coming out over the next 2 quarters is going to have a camera. Yeah, the other thing is they're praising this 1280 by 800 HD video compatible screen. Okay.
I tried to watch that, YouTube crashed.
Really?
Yeah, it was,
fun!
YouTube app was the one specifically that I was talking about, core app that crashes.
Nice!
First video that I tried to open, it just put.
Nice! Well, okay, I'm going to assume for HD they mean 720 because you can't fit 1080 pixels into 800. And I think what they're getting at there is it's more 16 by 9 than with room for controls than a 4 by 3 like screen. And this is actually
it does look. It is a very crisp looking screen.
Well, and I think that aspect ratio helps. And this is really this is becoming like the big debate. You know, should these devices be more 4 by 3-ish? Where media doesn't really come across well in them like the iPad, or should they be more 16 by 9-ish where it doesn't scale well into the other aspect ratio? And I believe by default as it is now, Honeycomb doesn't even really tilt at all. It's this way. Get used to it. I'm not sure there's a right answer there. It honestly just depends how you're using the device, to be quite honest, in my opinion. You got 2 cents on that bit, or? Hello?
Was that directed towards me?
Yeah, I was like, I'm
sorry, I thought you were talking to Leo.
No,
Rephrase the question?
Oh, he's not even paying attention, folks. He's zoned out. He's gone away.
I was reading your other article that you had in the...
yeah, I was talking about the whole 16 by 9 versus 4 by 3 thing. You know, the iPad aspect ratio versus many others are going with more 16 by 9 like ratios, so movies look right. And
I like the wider screen of the Xoom, and I also like the size of the RIMS playbook. I mean, it doesn't have to be much bigger. Bigger than a smartphone is the key.
Yeah. Well, and it's also what the aspect ratio, and I'm not sure it's the thing. Again, I'm not sure. We've been debating this whole part about, is the more flexible a good thing? Because, like, your opinion is flexible is what's wrong with Android. My opinion is it's not that it's bad. It's that it's that some people are abusing it. And I don't know where Leo honestly stands.
Well, I'm optimistic that somebody is going to just get it at some point.
That right here, all the pro-Android people, we're like becoming fanboys in search of our messiah. It's like, we're like, oh, the fortunes told us that one day an OEM that gets it will come and not fuck it up. Wherefore thou art Messiah? Has he come to that? Has the Messiah come yet? Has he been born?
Well, I think flexibility is there. I'm just saying that's also a weakness. It's a strength and a weakness when it comes to Android, because you're dealing with these bloodsuckers, carriers and stuff that I believe you fight fire with fire,
Yeah. Like, what were you saying? You still think one will come, or?
I was just saying that I don't think that that's even that much of a stretch. You get somebody who just
all you.
Oh, hey, this tethering thing is important.
All you really need is an OEM that has faith in the idea. If I make a good product, people will come buy it, and if I make a better product, people will come. If I make a better product, people will. When they get tired of their old one, they'll trade it in for the new one that I've made that's better. You know, the idea of if I build a better mousetrap, people will come use it to catch mice. I don't have to lock them into it. I just have to build a good product. You know, it's like that seems to have been forgotten. You know, the idea of, well, let's focus on making a good product and the customers will come. You know, no. Let's focus on fucking the customers so they don't have a choice. It's like, and of course, the other thing that happened in Google land this week is Gmail crashed for a number of people. And you know, they're still trying to fix it for some of these people. I honestly have no sympathy whatsoever, because when I'm reading the negative about this is that people are like, I had all these important emails in there and yada yada. People, Gmail has supported IMAP for over a year now. Why have you not been logging in with an IMAP client of any kind and backing up your emails? It's cloud-based. It's not on your drive. Back it up once a week, once a month, whatever. I have no sympathy for you people. None at all. Oh, well, I blindly trusted in Google because they're up 99.9% of the time. I don't care how much of the time they're up. Back up, people.
That's right.
I have no mercy for y'all people.
Well, part of the problem that caused, though, I was just seeing this in a lot of places. It didn't just take down Gmail. A lot of people ended up finding themselves locked out of everything there.
Oh yeah, no, I know. They were like locked out of Google services.
Android devices.
Well, but see, here's the thing. You can download all of that stuff. I don't trust it in the cloud only. I have a local backup of all my email, of all my Google Docs. I have a local backup. I do it once a week. I sync, I get it all down. I still use it up there, but I sync. It's not like it's hard to do. Anyways, you said you were reading.
It's still connected to a lot of stuff, and I don't think that most people, especially regular consumers, are going to anticipate that.
You're not going to anticipate the idea of maybe I'll lose data? Okay.
Normal customers.
Well, but you know, it's like, honestly, how is this any different than just just blindly believing that your computer's going to boot up tomorrow? The hard drive's not going to break, or the memory stick's not going to break, or it's just back up. Yeah. Back up. What's that rule? If it doesn't exist in 3 places and one of them somewhere else, it doesn't exist at all. That's rule number 1.
I actually do use 3-way backup. I have. An online, an online backup, and then I have my 2 hard drives in separate locations in the house.
Yeah.
They're part of my network for backing up as well.
Yeah. It's like if it's important to you, Sean. Now, granted, if my Gmail crashed tomorrow and I lost all my email and I lost all my services, I'd be exceedingly annoyed. I'd get up here on my YouTube soapbox, assuming I still could, and I would go, but I blame myself for not backing it up. Because it's.
Yeah, I learned that lesson long ago when I lost client status stuff.
Without any Google accounts or anything, though.
Yeah.
I know they are very intertwined.
Oh, I know.
and that's the real point that I'm trying to make. It shut down and took with it the entire Google ecosystem of products.
Maybe this will convince Google that all the accounts shouldn't be interlinked and I should maybe be allowed to have my individual services separate if I want them to. Because that's like my big complaint about Google, that they want me to tie everything to one master account, despite the fact that I may be in an entirely different effing mode over here than I am over here, and there's a reason I made them separate accounts, because I want them separate. It's like
yeah, there's nothing more annoying than, can you please tie this email into later? Oh, I hate that message.
There's a lot of things I love about Google, but that's one of them. I'm like, okay, Google, I'm coming. It's like, we'll see about this. It's like, okay. We're kind of long, but you said you were reading an article. Was it anything of uber interest to you, or should we kind of pause off and move on?
Oh well, I was reading the RIM disappointment, and then I was reading, but I've already actually started reading that article earlier today.
Yeah, you brought it up now. There's a lot of people who are really disappointed with the playbook, don't really know what to make of it, but I mean, we could go into that for an hour. I'm not sure we should.
No. I mean, I actually am impressed with the product, and I agree with BlackBerry's security strategy in having one point of failure than actually storing it all on the actual pad itself. So. Yeah.
Okay, well, we've babbled an hour. Hopefully you've enjoyed the babbling. Babble.
My timer says it's gone too.
What we've basically... I think we've actually come to an unprecedented conclusion, and that is they both suck. We haven't come to that conclusion before, but the honest conclusion this week, and we're forced to conclude, we have a semi-Apple person with us saying Apple doesn't have it right. You have a very pro-Android Linux person going Android's fucking it up, and you have a Linux person going okay. So it's like the honest conclusion we're forced to draw this week is they all suck.
There you go.
And on that particular implement, I think we're gonna just.
It'll all get better.
It'll all get better. There's hope. And on that, peace out, everyone.